Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of WEvolve.
Today we are talking everything GLP-1s.
Love.
I feel like this episode was long overdue because GLP-1s did go quote-unquote viral a couple months ago, but it did take us quite a bit of time to get all this information together, so yeah.
And like with it being super prevalent in especially the teen community and a lot of people turning to use GLPs just because it is becoming, it's easier to get now. We just wanted to bring awareness to it. Like there's a lot of TV shows that out there, like I do see people using GLPs and they're like, what are you doing? And it's a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We are not really going to talk about why you should use it or not use it as much, but we're just going to be talking about GLP-1s, and because I'm a firm believer that if you take any medication for anything, it affects more than just that one part that you're taking it for. Does that make sense? So
I agree with you.
We're going to be talking about what people don't, or not people, but like the general public may not know what GLP-1 is doing to your brain, to other areas of your body. It's not just a weight loss drug, and we're just going to kind of go
and we're going to give you that information, and then you can watch this, and if you want to take GLPs, up to you. If you don't want to take GLPs, up to you. We're not saying anything.
Yeah. But anyways, so what even is GLP-1? So GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1, a natural hormone that regulates blood sugar and appetite. And how it does that is basically you have blood sugar control with GLP-1s, you have appetite control, and then what essentially happens for appetite control, which is what a lot of people use it for weight loss, is for the appetite control. But essentially it provides this feeling of slow gastric mobility, so it keeps your food physically in your stomach for a longer amount of time, so you literally are full. It's not even like you feel full, like you are full. The food is still in your stomach. So that is what it does. But GLP-1s are more commonly, or I guess not more commonly, but they started off being used for type 2 diabetes and weight loss. Like that is the start of it. Before we get deeper into what GLP-1 drugs do, because a lot of people may not know what GLP-1 is, you guys might know it by the generic names. So semaglutide and tirzepatide are the actual, what do you call it, medical, scientific name? Chemical name?
I'm pretty sure it's called the generic names, and then the other ones are called the brand names.
Oh yeah, sorry, that one would be right, yeah. So semaglutide, tirzepatide are going to be your generic names, and then the ones that you're actually buying,
sure, everyone knows what this one is.
Ozempic and Wegovy are the semaglutide from semaglutide, and then tirzepatide has Mounjaro, Zepbound, just Mounjaro and Zepbound. Those are going to be the brand names of
those are the brand
tirzepatide.
Names. Yeah.
So the side effects of GLP-1 drugs do include nausea, bloating, mild stomach discomfort, especially when starting the medication. There's different severity of side effects with the different doses that you take. And not everybody takes the same dose, so it's not like a standard pill that everybody takes. There's different doses.
Yeah, it's designed for you and for your body specifically, so.
Yeah, so going back into what exactly is GLP-1 doing in your body. So GLP-1 works by stimulating the release of insulin, and it inhibits the release of glucagon, which does the opposite of insulin. So glucagon is released when your blood sugar levels are low, and then insulin is released when your blood sugar levels are high. So glucagon is going to increase those blood sugar levels, and GLP-1 also slows down gastric emptying. So essentially the food you eat stays in your body for a longer period of time and makes you feel full, and that's how GLP-1 drugs are used for weight loss, because you just won't want to eat if you're
and adding on to that,
full.
Glucagon and insulin are they work against each other, and essentially they're like opposites of one another, so you're never going to have like glucagon and insulin running at the same time. Like it's either one or the other. So
yeah. And then the delaying in gastric emptying essentially obviously lets you eat less, and then this causes less of a spike after you eat. Anyway, so going back into GLP-1 as a drug itself, a GLP-1 drug is a 30 amino acid peptide hormone produced, so it is already produced in your body, but you're just also supplementing it to get more of it. It's produced in the enteroendocrine cells. I probably said that wrong. In the distal gut. And it's also made by some neurons in the brainstem, which is in response to food intake.
Fire. So now we're going to talk about GLPs, like how it works in your body, what it affects. But basically, it's recognized as a pleiotropic effect. And that is a single gene going and affecting like multiple other genes, and that's beyond glucose regulation, and it could be affecting the brain, the gastrointestinal system, like Diksha talked about, and the cardiovascular renal systems. And now we're going to lead on to what diabetes is and why GLPs are used for diabetes and all that. But there are two types of diabetes. It's type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Type 1 is more of the genetic one, and type 2 you can get that when you're older and your whole insulin and glucose levels are just not working well. But type 1 diabetes is that your immune system is attacking your insulin cells. And therefore, that means there's less insulin available to reduce the blood glucose levels. And I would say diabetes is something you're born with, and it's an autoimmune disease, and it is maintained. And there are like treatments. There's no cure to diabetes type 1, but there are treatments called Dexcom, insulin pumps. You can put that on your arm right here. And actually, if you've seen Love Island, there is a bombshell that has that. And
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even remember that.
She talks about it, and she's like, yeah, like, this is my Dexcom, and Nick, the nurse, he, like, knew what that was, and he was, like, talking about it, but it's very interesting. And then type 2 diabetes, that's when your body is not producing enough insulin or able to maintain that insulin level. And, again, you can develop this later in life. It's not something you're born with, it's not genetics, and it can be maintained with eating habits. So you don't have to have like a bad condition with type 2 diabetes, but GLP-1s will help you maintain that, and it will inhibit the release of glucagon and regulate your blood sugar levels, and you can outgrow this condition if you eat better and your insulin receptor cells are functioning better. But yeah, that's why a lot of people, when you're older, if you get on the cusp of getting type 2 diabetes, they'll be like, hey, you're approaching the stage, just be careful how you're eating, your diets and everything. But just, it's so scary. And there is something called gestational diabetes. Get that when you're pregnant.
I have heard about that.
When you're pregnant.
It goes away though, right?
It does go away. So it's like, it's not forever, but it's so interesting how your insulin and glucagon levels like work in your body, and how it like literally can stop working when you're pregnant. And it's like so confusing.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
So anyways, what does GLP-1 drugs do in the body, like the physiological aspect of it all? In the pancreas, the GLP-1 drugs stimulate, or not even the GLP-1 drugs, this is what naturally happens in your body with the GLP-1 that you produce. But in the pancreas, GLP-1 stimulates glucose-dependent insulin secretion from the beta cells and suppresses glucagon release from the alpha cells, which is what we talked about, and it makes sense. So then this contributes to lowering your blood glucose in general, because you're getting that release of insulin, which is lowering the blood sugar levels.
And adding on to that, there's 3 types of cells in your pancreas. It's alpha, beta, and gamma. And like what Diksha said, alpha is glucagon, beta is insulin, and gamma is somatostatin. So, statin. Very interesting.
I think people also, you said statin?
Somatostatin, yeah.
Don't people take...
They do take it for cholesterol.
Yeah, that's what I heard, yeah.
Isn't that so cool? The body is so interesting. It works in so many different ways, and there's just so many things that are connected, especially with this system. Just like glycolysis and gluconeogenesis, it's just all connected. Yeah, and it literally all leads to citric acid cycle, electron transfer rate, and that's what's keeping you alive, essentially. And it's like, they're all connected, so it's very interesting.
Yeah. So, like we mentioned, it slows gastric emptying, and then it decreases your gastrointestinal motility, which is how it makes you feel full for longer. But aside from that, because I think that's like pretty known knowledge, a lot of people know that already, it actually also acts on the hypothalamus, which is, if you've watched our other podcasts, it's like your hormone central. It acts on the hypothalamus and other brain areas to regulate appetite, body weight, and energy expenditure. So, like we talked about, when we talk about the brain, if something affects the brain, it's usually not just affecting one portion of the brain. it's affecting multiple parts of the brain, because you also have to remember that the brain like works together with all the different parts. That sounds so obvious, but like, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. But like, I never knew, when we talk about hormones, I never thought it was coming from the brain. Like I didn't know my brain was telling my body to like release certain hormones.
I knew that, but I think I just
Like,
knew
would
that
you
for,
think reproductive system starts with your brain?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So just me.
But
I didn't
it's okay.
think
I think
that.
a lot of people don't.
I just thought my reproductive glands were just the ones sending everything out. I didn't know it starts off with your brain that sends everything down. So.
Yeah, I knew it starts with the brain just because I was researching that since I was little, but I like a lot of people don't know. Think.
Yeah, no, I learned that through MCAT. I did not know before. I didn't know what the hypothalamus was in the first place. But yeah.
Back to what I was saying though. It also influences lipid metabolism, including effects on lipid absorption and also on adipose tissue, which is fat tissue. And then it makes it relevant beyond glucose homeostasis. So essentially what I'm trying to say is that GLP-1 has many effects all over your body. Yes, the most significant ones are going to be gastric emptying and glucose monitoring. I don't even know what I would consider that, like glucose stabilizer.
Yeah.
But it does have effects beyond just that. And it does affect your brain. It affects, we're going to talk about further in how you feel, because that's all for your
really
brain.
Important, exactly. So,
and other things, yeah.
Yeah, and like talking about what the mechanism is and how do they do it. But basically these drugs are enhancing your insulin secretion when your glucose levels are high, and it reduces that glucagon secretion, and again, like Diksha said, delaying the gastric emptying, reducing appetite, and promoting weight loss. And that's why a lot of people use it for obesity and improving glycemic control, why it's used for diabetes as well. But there are approved in the US for type 2 diabetes and some for obesity, and are increasingly used off-label or approved for weight-related comorbidities. And adding on to that, a lot of people are able to get GLPs. Literally, I know if you search it up and you kind of put in your weight and like a couple of things, like they will more than not, like they will send you the drug and allow you to use it. It's being used over the counter now. You're not needing a prescription from a doctor.
Really?
Yeah, you can get GLPs like anywhere, anytime.
I think certain ones though.
Certain types.
Yeah.
But GLPs are GLPs, right? So.
I also kind of going off to what you said. I actually do know that some people use GLP-1s for PCOS.
Really?
Not PCO. I think it is PCOS.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But
is it because like PCOS?
I think we talked about this in the
last
cravings.
episode.
We haven't done research on specifically GLP-1s and PCOS. Maybe we could make a whole episode on that. But I think it might be. Do you remember in our episode we talked about how
insulin and
we talked about how it's like
affects it.
Affects like PCOS because don't quote me on this. Watch our episode. But I think it was like PCOS affects or insulin affects the androgens turning into.
I remember you talking about this, and estrogen. I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's like regulating
That's so cool.
that. But yeah, I have noticed like in the office when I've had some patients come in, they do use GLP-1s and they use it for PCOS.
Very interesting.
Or like reproductive.
So like adding on to that, like she said, we could potentially use it for PCOS. People actually, it has been shown to reduce cardiovascular risk, and adding on to that, especially with kidneys and stuff, it has reduced the risk for that as well. So yes, GLPs do a lot for your body. It can cause harm, it could be beneficial, but these are just the studies we've seen, and a lot of people have done studies on specifically reducing cardiovascular risk, and it does. So
yeah. Going to what GLP-1 drugs do in the brain and the entire neurotransmitter system. So like we mentioned, GLP-1 receptors are found all over the brain regions, and they have shown to modulate neurotransmitter systems. They can influence dopamine, glutamate, and GABA signaling, interacting with the neuroinflammatory pathways, and thus impacting the reward processing behavior. So that was a lot of words. Let me break that down a little bit. So what I kind of mean by that is, yes, we're looking at like, I think in the grand scheme of things, these would be like the micro effects of GLP-1s, because obviously I don't I don't know, but I don't think a lot of people are using GLP-1s for like brain.
I don't think they're
brain
using it for
health.
like depression and
Yeah.
anxiety.
Because I mean, that's not what the main effect of that drug is. But at the same time, you also have to keep in mind that your hormones and your neurotransmitters are also environmentally, like they change, what do you call them, like environmentally, like their environmental factors impact your hormone.
They adjust to our environment?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright.
So, what I was trying to say is, like, we talked about in our dopamine episode that you get a release of dopamine when you eat food, right? But then it's like GLP-1, especially if you're taking it for weight loss, you're probably not eating as much food because of the whole gastric emptying delayed process. So it can affect dopamine being released, how much is being released, how often it's being released because you're not eating as much. So yes, it is like a micro effect because I don't really think many people are going in from depression for GLP-1s because of low dopamine levels. Like that's not really a major...
The drug isn't designed for that purposes. It's designed for weight loss and diabetes control. So I hope
it's mostly related to insulin, glucagon, like that kind of stuff. But we do want to kind of talk about those small things.
So obviously with WEvolve and what we really focus on is mental health, and we try to connect a lot of popular topics to mental health. So we have to have a mental health segment. So basically there is emerging evidence that GLP-1s can influence your mood and anxiety disorders, and we do have a review that's found like mixed effects in clinical studies, and that's like beneficial, null, or harmful for depressive symptoms and suicidal. Because I had no idea it affected your mental health like that. Because typically I know a lot of people that do take GLPs for weight loss, and like they might have anxiety and depression toward that. So
like to the weight loss?
To the weight loss. Like, oh my god, I'm I'm obese, like I want to lose weight, I don't know how to get better. So I'm surprised to see that the results actually show that it will influence your mood and anxiety disorders.
I think I actually did know that though.
You knew that?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Because it's like it's not as many people though.
Why would it affect your mental health and stuff?
Because like you know how we mentioned, like the whole the gut brain axis, and like your whole body's like one thing. So it's like if you take something for your stomach, for like whatever your gut, it does affect your brain. That's because it does affect your brain because it's like certain neurotransmitters are getting released because of stuff that's happening in your gut. And then if you're having low amounts of dopamine, low amounts of serotonin, like low amounts of glutamate, like whatever, this is going to change the way that you react without it. But I will say though, it's like not as common as people like actually losing weight. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's not, the main effect is not people actually getting depressed. Yes, I do think more people are susceptible. Some people are more susceptible to it. But it's not like the main side effect that everybody gets.
Very interesting though.
Yeah. Like I would say nausea is more common.
Nausea and vomiting are common. I feel like those are more like the physical ones, so you just wouldn't think it was like mental health related. So very interesting. But there are preclinical and early clinical studies that suggest that GLP-1s can reduce systematic and central inflammation and can improve your immune system homeostasis, which is great, and we want that. And especially in those brain regions involved in like the emotional regulation and reward. And adding on to that, like we mentioned earlier, that GLPs do reduce appetite, and it slows that gastric emptying and affects the energy homeostasis, weight loss, metabolic improvement. It has a lot of benefits, and that, like I mentioned earlier, it can reduce the stress associated with obesity and diabetes. So it does play a part in that, but there isn't a lot of data in that field, so I don't want to say something like for sure, but I feel like when you assume something, like I would think that, like, oh yeah, like my mental health is getting better because I'm losing weight due to this drug. So, no, that would work for me. But
I will say though, I want to put out there that GLP-1 drugs, from what I've researched, is a lifestyle drug in a way. Like you're supposed to take it, and then you're supposed to change your lifestyle.
It's supposed to supplement it, basically, like help you.
Yeah. Like, obviously, it's a stronger thing. I would say supplement is a weak word for what it actually does. Like, it does do a lot. Like, people that take GLP-1s for weight loss do lose a lot of weight if you, like, do it consistently. But I will say, there's no right way or wrong way to take it. But I would say that if you're taking it for weight loss, you take it. You're exercising, you're eating healthy, you're doing all the lifestyle changes in addition to taking GLP-1 drugs, it will make the whole thing more sustainable. Because once you get off of GLP-1 drugs, if you don't have a healthy lifestyle, you're just going to gain all that weight
back.
back.
A lot of people think taking GLPs, like, oh, I'm going to lose weight, I don't have to change my diet, I don't have to change anything. Like, no, you have to fix. It will help you lose weight, but it's like you also have to implement all these other factors.
It'll literally speed up the process. But
yes.
if you're not also exercising, if you're also not eating healthy, first of all, you're probably not going to see GLP-1 work as efficiently. Like, you're probably not going to be losing the same amount of weight as a person next to you that is doing all these lifestyle changes. Exactly. 2, if you just get off the drug, you're going to just gain all your weight back. Because, like, the whole point is that's just supposed to speed up the process, but it's not supposed to permanently alter the way your body gains weight. That's not what it's supposed to do.
Exactly.
That being said, there's one more thing related to that I want to talk about. Is I actually saw a study, I don't know if you know, but I saw a study and it was like GLP-1 ones, like, they don't just take away, like, you know how, like, visceral fat is bad for you? And then, like, you have, like, the healthy fat that you're supposed to have, like...
Yes.
Let me put this out there. You are supposed to have fat.
You're not supposed to have fat. Also, fat will keep you alive.
Yeah.
Once we, like, go through, like, glycolysis and gluconeogenesis, like, that will protect you.
Yes.
We want that.
And you need fat. Yes, visceral fat is bad for you. That's the fat that's getting in your arteries and, like, preventing, like, blood from flowing through and stuff. But you are supposed to have, like, there's healthy fat. You're supposed to have healthy fat, a healthy amount of fat. It is normal to have fat, and I also think the way you look does not always correlate to the amount of fat you have. Like, you can be so skinny and have so much visceral fat, and you're unhealthy.
Yeah.
But...
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like, how you look physically doesn't always correlate to your health. You didn't know that?
No. I was
Are
like...
you trolling?
No, I'm serious. I was like, oh, like... What?
Wait, you thought if you were skinny, you're healthy?
I think, like, no, not, like, if you're skinny, you're healthy, but, like, you know, there's, like, a healthy level of, like, skinny and, like, whatever. Like, I thought I have a pretty good homeostasis, great, metabolism, so I just assumed, like, oh, I can eat, like, I just drank a whole bottle of Dr. Pepper yesterday, and I'm like, I'm fine, like, my metabolism, like, I know it's gonna impact me, but it's, like, also, like, I didn't think it was gonna, like, land on my, like, body fat or anything.
Well, you also have to keep in mind that, like, if you have a high metabolism, it means your body is getting rid of stuff faster, but you can be skinny and have visceral fat. You can be skinny and have a heart attack. You can be skinny and have a stroke. Like,
I know that, but, like...
You can be skinny and have a blocked artery.
Very interesting. I didn't
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not... Your visceral fat doesn't always correlate to how you look.
Wow.
And also,
I'm going to the doctors after this. I'm gonna check. I'm gonna check.
People that have more fat may have just more healthy fat and not have more visceral fat. Like, they may be healthier, like, internally. Do you know what I'm saying? So how you look does not correlate to how much fat you have always. But that being said, what I was gonna say is I did see this study though about a 20-year-old taking GLP-1 and then a 60-year-old taking GLP-1. They both are no, the 20-year-old's a male, the 60-year-old's a woman. Okay. So obviously keep in mind that 60 years old, you have like very little estrogen. You're not having a menstrual cycle, so you are already more susceptible to bone loss because of
because if you watched our episode on hormones and endocrinology, we talk about how, like, having estrogen and progesterone does affect your bone health and why a lot of women get osteoporosis.
So what I heard about is when you take GLP-1s, obviously, like, I know it's available over the counter, but I would recommend getting a prescription for it because, like, you want to make sure, like, everything you're taking it for the right reasons and you are a good candidate to take it.
Definitely talk to your provider. I remember seeing that a lot of people, it's just very accessible now, and I don't know how the regulations are and what you're getting it used for, but just be careful.
You just want to be more safe than sorry. But with this article, what I read was this 20-year-old. So they both took GLP-1s and they like lost weight, right?
Okay.
But GLP-1 drugs they are not selective fat loss. Like it's not, they don't select visceral fat and then you only lose visceral fat. You just lose fat everywhere.
Wow.
So this 60-year-old woman,
Oh my god.
she's taking GLP-1s and she lost like all this like fat, but the fat she lost was not necessarily all bad fat.
Okay.
Because of that, it made her like bones and her just very brittle, and like
She's prone to falling.
she's prone to falling. She's prone to more bone loss because
God. So bad.
there's no like fat and muscle
To
packed around the
protect it,
bone.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But with this 20-year-old, he lost fat, but since he's 20, even if he did lose like important fat, healthy fat, he can eat it and gain back those healthy fats. Do you know what I'm saying? But she wasn't able to gain it back at the same rate that she lost it, but she lost enough to where it's like it's unhealthy.
Wow.
Like you don't have enough fat
So
around your
sad.
bones. So that is why I recommend to get a prescription.
Talk to your provider.
Talk to your provider.
I'm like the ads and everything. Have you seen
Yeah.
the
Don't just look at the ads. Don't just look, oh, I
There
feel
is
like
a
I've gained
popular,
weight.
Yeah, there's a very popular ad right now happening. It's with it's like a very, very important tennis player, and she like dances around and she's like, get your GLP-1s, and like there's a tablet version now. And it's
Yeah.
like, just be careful.
Just be careful. I really think research. Like, yes, providers are 100% reliable, but do your own research. Like, you know your body more than anybody, so do your research. Know what it does to your brain. Know, are you somebody that's already going in with some mental health issues? Because that's important. Anytime you take a drug, I think it's important to self-evaluate and be like,
Yeah.
I'm
Is
someone
this
that's
gonna help me?
susceptible to anxiety.
Only you know your body.
Yeah. Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons and like in the nicest way possible. If you feel like you gained weight, your first plan of action should not be GLP-1 drugs. Like in the
And I
nicest way
think
possible.
a lot of people right now are turning to GLPs like that.
Yes.
And it's like, wait, let's like see if you can do. And I'm sure a lot of providers too, they don't encourage GLPs right off the bat. They encourage you to do lifestyle changes before even turning to
Yes. Yeah. So make sure you're making those lifestyle changes first, because always remember, lifestyle changes will probably fix 50% of the stuff that you're feeling. Like if you're, like it has been proven that if you're depressed and you work out or you spend time doing some kind of physical activity, even if it's going on a walk, and you eat healthy, it does help more than people think.
So adding on, there are many more indirect effects to GLPs, and like we mentioned, like improvements to glucose control. I feel like I've said that line so many times. Weight loss, metabolic health, but it can also improve your self-esteem, your body image, sleep, and thereby reducing your psychological stress and improving your mental health. Like I mentioned earlier, like I assumed that taking GLPs are going to improve my mental health because I'm losing weight essentially, but there are a lot of peer studies that need to be reviewed and all that, but just a little caution that because the brain effects, including the reward system, is affected, there is a possibility that there might be changes to your mood and motivation just because it is going and affecting that part of your region. So just, again, be careful. Just know what you want to take for your body, and there's so many different medications out there that it's just like, you know your body the best, so take the best medication you can. But, yeah.
Well, I think that...
It's a good closing point.
Yeah, I think it's a good closing point. Like I mentioned, do your research, and yeah, just do your research. Make sure you talk to a provider. I know that GLP-1 drugs are available over the counter, but I wouldn't recommend.
Yeah.
I mean, you can take them over the counter, but make sure you
I'm not
get
sure
an
if they're
opinion.
fully available over the counter, but I know it's becoming extremely accessible.
Yeah.
You are able to just put in a couple of weight and height ratios, and just like they're offering it, and
like,
you're allowed
do like
to take
telehealth.
it.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
So just be careful, because there's a popular show out there that I was watching, and she actually had an eating disorder, and she was taking GLPs. And it was like she wanted to be a model so badly that she was taking GLPs, and she had an eating disorder, and it's just like so many things added on top of that, and they think the best way, like, she used to look at herself and be like, oh, like,
I need to be skinny and
be skinny. And then she was like, when someone says, like, you're so thin, like, you look like a skeleton, she finds it, like, happiness, you know? Because she's like, oh my god, like, that means it's working. So she is off GLPs now, but she talks about her journey, so it's very
I think it's something that is good, but like any drug or any medication can be taken for granted. I wouldn't even say for granted, like just taken for the wrong purposes. And I just think that
for its not intended purposes.
Yeah, like I mentioned, if you're more susceptible to mental health disorders, eating disorders, take caution when taking any medication, not even just GLP-1s, like any medication. Talk to a provider, please. Even if it is available over the counter, talk to a provider, get a provider's opinion on it, because sometimes, like the eating disorder thing, sometimes the problem is already you're not eating enough. So if you put a GLP-1 that already slows your gastric emptying, and the whole point of weight loss is to not eat, it's going to, you're just going to spiral.
Careful. Yeah.
So be careful, know your body, and don't watch your episode and be like, okay, I'm going to take it now.
We're not perfect. I got all my information I needed. No, just please go to your doctor. Talk to like a health professional.
And with everything that we've been saying, we're not saying GLP-1s are bad. Because yes, they are beneficial for type 2 diabetes. They are beneficial for obesity, which, if you guys don't know, is one of the leading causes for a lot of other, it's like a precursor.
Like diabetes is a precursor for obesity. It can be a thing.
Yeah, and also obesity is a precursor for cardiovascular diseases. Like
obesity is also a precursor for diabetes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, type 2 diabetes.
So yes, obesity is a major problem because it is a precursor for other disorders. So it's like, yes, if we can fix the root cause, which is obesity, then we can avoid the possibility of getting cardiovascular diseases and like the prevalence of it. Yes, that's a good thing. So I'm not saying GLP-1s are bad. I'm just saying that make sure you're taking it for its intended purpose.
Exactly.
And you're getting a provider's opinion on that because they know best.
But yeah, that's a great way to end this episode. Thank you so much for watching.
Stay tuned for our episode next week. Bye, guys.